Last week, I had what I now call my great hamburger bun meltdown of 2025. And it taught me something really profound about why people succeed at manifesting the life and dreams that they want, while other people stay stuck. You know, those moments when something so small, so insignificant, it just becomes your tipping point. So here I was, a grown adult who doesn't even eat hamburger buns. And I was completely losing my mind over these missing Hawaiian hamburger rolls. My grown son was visiting from Florida and I promised him these specific buns. Okay, such a simple thing, right? I'd already shown grace earlier when this checkout clerk overcharged me for something else. Okay, I let that go. But when lunchtime came and I realized the buns never made it in my bag, something in me just snapped. And here's the thing. I've handled major life challenges, some serious crises, major serious setbacks, real problems. I teach people how to manifest their dream lives, how to align their energy with their desires, how to achieve their biggest outcomes. Hamburger buns? That's what broke me. These small emotional explosions, they're not just random reactions. They're actually showing us exactly why our manifestations might be blocked, why we're not getting our goals, why we're not achieving our outcomes. And more importantly, they're revealing the key to unlocking our true power of getting what we want. Today, we're going to be talking about why these seemingly small triggers can create such big emotional responses in us, and how mastering these can sometimes be that missing piece. And hey, look, if you're focusing on really getting what you want and you're really dialed in, this could be something that's blocking you from getting that. Because what I discovered really changed everything that I thought that I knew about emotional mastery and about getting what you want in life and really getting your goals and your outcomes. So when was the last time something ridiculously small just sent you over the edge? Maybe it was a missing TV remote, or maybe somebody loaded the dishwasher wrong. Or like me, maybe it's something as simple as somebody forgot to put your hamburger buns in your bag. So think about that for a moment. What was really going on there? You see, these last straw moments, they rarely happen in isolation. They're usually the finale of a series of small stresses that we've been carrying around, the ones that we think that we're handling just fine. Well, maybe you've been showing grace in too many situations, swallowing those big irritations, being the bigger person until suddenly you're not. And here's what's really fascinating. Your emotional outburst probably wasn't really about that trigger at all. My meltdown, it wasn't about hamburger buns. It was about expectations, about wanting to be the perfect parent, even when my child's 33 years old. It was about feeling like I failed at something so simple after handling so many complex things so well. So what if I told you that these moments, yes, even the ones that make you cringe when you remember them, they're actually trying to tell you something really important about yourself? What if that emotional explosion over something tiny is actually your internal wisdom and is trying to get your attention? Over the past several years of studying these emotional responses, both in myself and in thousands of other people, we had developed the echo method. And here's what's important to realize. You're going to slip into these things. You're going to fall into this, but awareness is key. And no, I didn't melt down over hamburger buns just to test this method out. But that moment perfectly illustrates why I need this and why everybody needs this. Think about an echo for a moment. When you shout into a canyon, what comes back isn't just noise, it's your own voice reflected back. Our emotional reactions work the exact same way. They're echoes of deeper patterns, deeper beliefs, and these unmet needs within us. The echo method isn't about suppressing these emotions or pretending that we're always calm and we're always collected. Because let's be real, I certainly wasn't calm about those buns. Instead, it's about understanding what our emotions are echoing back to us about ourselves. Here's what makes this different from the typical emotional management techniques. We're not trying to control our emotions. We're learning to decode them. Because once you understand what the echo's trying to tell you, you can gain something really important, something really powerful. And that's choice is how you respond. Choice is what you do next. And most importantly, choice is how you show up for yourself and for others. Before we dive into each one of these components in the echo method, I want you to know something important. If you've ever felt ashamed about an emotional reaction, whether it was over hamburger buns or a work email or anything else, something that just seemed too small to justify that response, you're not alone and you're not broken. You're just human. So your emotions are trying to tell you something here, and it's trying to tell you something important. So let's break this down step by step. The E is engage with triggers. This is self-awareness. First, we need to engage with our triggers honestly. Going back to my hamburger bun moment, my initial thought was, I can't believe I'm so upset over buns. But that's not engaging, that's judging. Real engagement means noticing without judgment. What was I feeling physically? My chest was tight, my face was hot, my hands were shaking. These physical responses, they're your first clues. When something triggers you, don't immediately try to just talk yourself out of it. Instead, notice, where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts are racing through your mind? Just observe like you're watching a movie of yourself. This awareness is your first step to mastery. The C is connect to your core. This is the root cause. That second step is to connect to the core of what's really happening. Remember, it's never about something like the buns. In my case, I was really connecting to what was happening. I realized that this reaction was about perfectionism, about feeling like I failed at something so simple after handling big challenges in my life. It was about wanting to be the perfect parent, even to my adult son. This is where most people get stuck. They try to fix that surface problem. So in my case, they might just run out and buy more buns. But until you connect to the core issue, you're just going to keep finding new buns to react to. Next is the H, which is hear the wisdom. This is the hidden message. This step is to really hear what your emotion is trying to tell you. Every emotional reaction, no matter how seemingly irrational, it carries wisdom with it. My bun breakdown was telling me something important about my standards for myself, about where I might need to ease up on perfectionism, about how I was handling stress in other areas of my life. Your emotions are like this GPS system. When you take a wrong turn, it recalculates and tries to get you back on track. Even anger, frustration, or tears over something small, they're trying to guide you somewhere important. Then we have the O, operate with purpose. This is your action plan. Finally, we want to operate with purpose. This means taking conscious action, and this action is going to be based on what we've learned. So after understanding my reaction wasn't really about buns, I could make meaningful changes. I started paying attention to where else I was showing grace, but actually suppressing frustration. I began setting better boundaries. I had an honest conversation with a few people about my fear of disappointing those people closest to me. And this step isn't about never getting triggered again. It's about using each trigger as a stepping stone to just greater self-awareness and to making better choices. Okay, so let's try something right now. Think about the last hamburger bun moment that you had. That time when you reacted strongly to something that seemed so relatively small. And as you think about it, notice what physical sensations came up. What were the circumstances that led up to it? What deeper truth might this reaction be trying to tell you? All right, here's something that's really important for all of you people who are kind of law of attraction followers, who are into manifesting your future. This is what most people miss. When they're trying to manifest their dream life, you can do all the vision boards, affirmations, positive thinking you want, but if you're not mastering your emotional reactions, then you're sabotaging your success. Why? Because those small emotional explosions aren't just momentary setbacks. They are energy leaks. Okay, think about it. When I lost it completely over these hamburger buns, I spent the next 3 hours in an emotional spiral. People are at the table, they're like, just get over it. So That's 3 hours where I wasn't aligned with my goals. I wasn't in a creation mindset. I wasn't attracting what I wanted. Instead, I was broadcasting this signal of frustration, perfectionism, and lack. And I was broadcasting this out into the universe. And here's the thing, the universe doesn't differentiate between big emotions and small ones. It simply matches your emotional frequency. Now, the great news, once you understand your emotional patterns using the echo method, you can turn these trigger moments into some real power points. Instead of energy leaks, they become energy peaks, moments where you consciously choose your vibration and therefore your creation power. You put yourself in control. Now, if you're thinking this all sounds great in theory, but wondering, how does this all work in real life? Hey, I get it. We're not aiming for perfection. We're not aiming for emotional control here. That's not even desirable. What we're after is emotional wisdom. Some days you're going to handle triggers like a Zen master, and other days, well, hamburger buns might still get the better of you. And that's completely okay. The difference is that now you understand these moments aren't failures, they're feedback. Every emotional reaction is giving you valuable information about where you need to heal, where you need to set boundaries, and most importantly, where you need to direct your energy. Think of it this way. Those triggering moments are actually that internal GPS recalculating your route to your dreams. Sometimes we need that recalculation to get where we truly want to go. Okay, let's fast forward a month from now. You're in a situation that typically would trigger you. Maybe it's a work deadline, a family member is pushing your buttons again, or yes, even a missing grocery item. But this time, something's different. Instead of being hijacked by the emotion, you recognize it as an echo. You feel that familiar sensation starting. Maybe it's the tight chest, the hot face, the racing thoughts. But now you have a choice. Imagine catching yourself in that moment and thinking, there's that echo again. What's it trying to tell me? Instead of spending hours in an emotional spiral, now you're spending minutes in this enlightened awareness. And that's not just emotional control, that's emotional mastery. And here's where the power of all this really kicks in. When you're no longer exhausting your energy on emotional reactions, imagine how much more power you're going to have to direct that toward your goals. Those 3 hours that I spent stewing over hamburger buns, that could have been 3 hours in active creation mode, spending better time with family, aligned with my highest intentions. In fact, my clients who master this echo method report something really fascinating. Not only do they handle triggers better, but they start experiencing fewer triggering situations altogether. It's like the universe just stops testing you once you've learned this lesson. They start to really accomplish their goals. They start to really accomplish those outcomes. And this acceleration happens because they're no longer sending these mixed signals to the universe. They're maintaining a consistent vibration of creation rather than reaction. Remember, each emotional trigger is trying to guide you somewhere important. Your triggers, whether they're big or small, they're actually invitations to level up your game of getting your outcomes and reaching your goals. So next week, we're going to dive into something a little bit deeper. And trust me, you don't want to miss next week's episode. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. And if this episode really resonated with you, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember your mindset matters because your emotions aren't obstacles. They're your GPS system. Use them wisely. This is Dan Singletary. This has been Mindset Matters. I'll see you next week.